Hey, welcome. So I don't have any makeup on because today we're going to do a little full face demo walkthrough of some Salt New York products that I have kicking around. When they came out with their new launch, the Sneaky Balm, I was so excited because it really felt like everything that was up my alley slash what I wanted. A product that I really love to reach for on a daily basis is the Glossier Generation G stretch concealer, and sometimes I kind of just use that as coverage all over my face. Something about it just being in this balm pot texture makes it seem so approachable and on the go, and everything about the Sneaky Balm launch seemed like exactly what I want. It was advertised as like very skin-like, you know, sneaky, so you can barely even see that it's on your skin. Super natural, color range that leans very yellow. The founder herself, Kiki G, explained how all of her shades were more yellow and more olive than most shade ranges because, like, in her experience as a makeup artist, she observed skin to kind of have these colors more naturally. You can listen to her explain it, she does a much better job, but the whole thing really appealed to like basically everything I would want from a skin product, so I couldn't resist. I'm gonna use my beauty blender and I'm just gonna put N12 on this side of my face and N11 on this side. I overall think that it doesn't really matter if you are one shade off because these are very sheer. So with the balm, much more even. Without. Okay, and then on this side of my face, I'm now going in with N11, which is the second lightest shade. I did hear that she was coming out with fairer shades, but I was really not sure which one I should go for when I was looking to purchase, so I just bought both in case. But now I think I could have gone with either, and I think if you're someone who is not super sure which one you need, I would just say don't worry too much about it because they are very light and sheer that as long as it's close enough, it'll work. This side does look a little too light, so I would say N11 is probably the best match for me, but again, I think either is fine. As you can see, I can't quite cover like all of my redness. A lot of stuff is still peeking through, but I look pretty healthy. I look better than when I didn't have any coverage on. But I will say, I don't like this product for a number of reasons, but let me just continue on with the other new Salt New York Cops that I recently added to my collection with this order were the Radiant Cream Tint in Beige, the Cream Tint Pro Lip and Cheek Tint in Cocoa, which is a summertime exclusive, and Rose. All of these pans retail for $16, but in my experience, I've been able to grab them. I'm gonna go in with Rose on this cheek, just so you guys can see. I've been able to get all of these pans on like pretty impressive deals, like buy one, get one free or something like that. I also think the price of $16 is pretty fair. These pans are not very big, so if you like the product a lot, you will end up going through it, that's for sure. Okay, and then on the right cheek, I'm gonna apply Cocoa. The thing that, one of my favorite products is this palette itself. It's such a luxurious and well-crafted magnetic palette. Highly recommend it. I think it's one of their best products. Getting back onto Cocoa, such a unique rosy brown. I saw like a quick Instagram reel of how Kiki G formulated this color, and it starts off being basically a magenta that she adds a lot of like yellow and brown to, or black and whatever pigments, but it starts off like bright pink basically, and then turns into this rosy brown over time. And this is like one of my favorite makeup colors overall, I'm learning, so big fan. Rose, cocoa, highly recommend cocoa. And then I'm just gonna also go in with the highlighter in beige over top here, which you honestly can't really see very much because I'm so glowy already. I think that I would opt to get pearl over beige if you are my skin tone or fairer. This is another thing that I was kind of in between. And then on the eyes real quick, I'm just gonna pop on some of these bronzers and maybe a little bit of beige just so that I can feel more put together. One thing that I really like about the whole Sculpt New York model is being able to work and mix right off of all these colors and palettes and formulas that kind of work together right in front of you. It's really fun kind of bouncing back and forth. And then I'm gonna use some of the Lip and Cheek and Cocoa on my lips. Is it a little silly that I have two different blush colors and two different foundation colors on? Maybe, but I don't really think they look that different overall in camera, which kind of is one of the factors that I wanted to point out. But let's go back and rewind. So in my last video, if you're curious more about the bronzers or the blush in Spice, can go ahead and check that video out. But first off, love the palette, 10 out of 10. Love the bronzers, would recommend to pretty much everyone. They have like a nice wide shade range. I do think Taupe is not going to be everyone's contour shade, but I think that's why she renamed the color from contour to Taupe. I love how like easy it is to work with and apply. I love the finish. It's not tacky by any means. So there's that. Love those two products. Everything else, I don't know. I'm a little more in between on. So an easy one to talk about is the highlighter in beige. I overall am not that into highlighters at all lately. I would not repurchase this or would not particularly recommend their highlighter formula at all. It's a little bit sticky feeling. It's a little bit more metallic than I want it to look. For me, lately I've been wearing a lot of pretty luminous base products and I don't really find the need for highlighter anymore. I just, maybe it's a personal thing, I never really reach for highlighter, and if I do, it's pretty much only ever the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter that I like. So there's my spiel on that. The formula, nothing remarkable, so if you have a highlighter you like already, wouldn't recommend buying this. And personally, I kind of regret my purchase, but I should have known this just because I don't reach for highlighter anymore. Let's get into the sneaky balms. I don't like them. I really thought they would be the world for me, but they are just so, they like leave a layer, it feels like a thin layer of Vaseline on my face, and I really don't like that. And also if I apply it with my fingers, it feels like my fingers are covered with a thin layer of Vaseline, and it just feels kind of like it. I wanted this to be something quick and lightweight and easy, but it feels messy and heavy on me, and it looks lightweight and it looks luminous and healthy, but it's I love a lit within luminosity, but I'm kind of like mad fake about this because my skin is very combination. It's like sensitive and it's dehydrated, but because I use tretinoin, it's like kind of thin, and I have that like tret glow and that like kind of shininess to my skin. So I kind of have just accepted having kind of shiny looking skin, and it happens to be on trend. I don't actually want things to feel greasy or dewy or like very oily on my face. I like having a glowy finish. I like having a moisturized and hydrated feeling to my skin, but I don't like having like an all over film. Like I don't like touching my face and having it feel like there's product that's just sitting there as opposed to like soaking in. So that is really off-putting to me. This product does not build any more than you see right now. So there's that. That's not really a big deal. I do really like sheer makeup. I do like the coverage that it gives. Another thing that I don't like is that I really don't like applying this with either a brush or with a finger, because I find that with a beauty blender, I'm able to, like, because there's like so much surface to this, and because beauty blenders are good at dispersing product across their surface, I'm able to pick up a very thin layer and like blot that out on my face very evenly. But with my fingers, I'll like melt off a bit, and it's just too concentrated an amount of product that it gets kind of hard to spread out without like tugging at my skin. And then I also find that unless I apply it in a very thin layer, it can kind of cling to dry patches, and then that in turn makes it look a little heavier. And I do remember in the like launch video, the founder mentioning that if you're experiencing flakiness, you should try using an AHA, which, while valid advice, I don't really like marketing that comes along with like the caveat of having good skin or like a set skincare routine or skincare to help alleviate problems of flakiness. Regardless of what my skincare routine is, even if my skin is a little flaky, there are products out there that highlight things less than this one, and that's like gonna be my basis of comparison. Don't mind my zit sticker, but I wanted to get some close-up showings. It's definitely a little flaky. You can kind of see where it's breaking apart on my cheek. Like, it really just doesn't look that great right here, I would say. And then between my eyebrows, where my skin is often quite flaky, it's definitely catching. So there you have it. Overall, it's mostly the finish and the feel on my face that make it pretty much something that I don't really want to reach for on most days. Even if I powder down, it still feels like there is a layer of something sitting on my face, even if like a powdery finish makes it so that I don't necessarily feel it with my fingertips. I think if you're someone with very dry skin and you like a really thick cream, maybe you even enjoy slugging, that sounds like pretty extreme. But if you're someone who enjoys like facial oils and doesn't mind having like a nice, maybe in your head it feels more like a barrier of protection, then go for it. But it's not for me, and I definitely feel like in the summer it would make me feel really slick and like my face is gonna melt everywhere. And then like the slight finickiness with application is all just like, ah man, this is not the product of my dreams. This was not like the one and done. It's fine. And then the blushes, she has beautiful colors, really, really. Though they don't last particularly long. I have Cocoa, Spice, and Rose. They all have a nice like luminosity, a nice translucency to them. They are quite slick and slippery, and they may move around the product underneath. They give a lot of glow to the face, so much so that this is an example of a product on my cheeks that leaves me feeling like I don't need highlighter. To me, like having an emollient cheek product is not as bad as having an all over emollient face product, because it's, I don't know, it's just kind of like concentrated right here, and it's like, okay, yeah, I like that it's catching the light. I don't like when it feels like, ooh, everywhere, and like the corners of my nose are slippery too. So there's the distinction. The cream blushes, I think if there's a color that you really like, go for it. The formula, nothing really to write home about. for me, I think if it did a better job at like not moving around the product that I have underneath, then I would say like, wow, this is actually something stand out. But to me, it's just like, I don't know, I kind of have to be careful to tap it on over. Like, as you can see, I do have a lot of redness peeking through, but the side with rosé, it kind of like moves stuff around. It looks kind of blotchy over here, and partially that's my skin, partially that's the fact that I'm wearing a very sheer tint as opposed to a like medium coverage product. But it's also partially due to the fact that like the blush itself is kind of translucent and emollient and kind of moves around. That wraps up my thoughts. I feel like I've tried everything I wanted to try from Salt New York. I love the bronzers, would recommend them to anyone. The palettes, very, very good. The rest of it, it might be for you, it might not be. Give it a go. Let me know what you think. I hope this was helpful in helping you decide if some of these products are for you or not. And yep, thank you for watching.